to us at stateofbelief.com, and be sure to tune in for Religion and Radio Done Differently. Sunday afternoon at 3 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
You're never going to get as much sleep as you want. That's why you need to make every hour of sleep you do get really count. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. Our sheets are handcrafted from pure, fair trade, 100% organic cotton. Hundreds of thousands of Americans, including 3 U.S. presidents, sleep better than ever on Boll & Branch sheets. If you order today, we'll give you $50 off your first set of sheets with promo code SLEEP. Spelled BOLL and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
That's right, yeah.
Now back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, 773-763-9278.
So hi, chat room. Hi, everybody. We're up on the YouTube page. That's halsparks.tv if you want to join me there. Hey, everybody. Look at this.
Somebody called to complain specifically about me, the guest host, interrupting you.
Yeah, we get those all the time. I just ignore them. They don't understand that sometimes you just need a pressure valve so you don't lose your mind. And that's a value. You serve a valuable purpose.
Thank you. I'm just in the back yelling flatulence.
That's right. Yeah, and distracting from the conversation and kind of disseminating that idea. You keep me on my toes and kind of help me stay off point, and that's important. I think that's the important thing. I think we're all learning a valuable lesson. That being said, hi chat room. How you guys doing? Hey, Julie. Hey, Tom. Hey, Rocky Mountain Mike. Everybody who's in there. Carl.
Like romper room.
Look at that. So before we got on the air on YouTube, we played the Trump summit stuff, which I'm sure everybody has seen. And we started to play his walk back. And let's pick up where we left off with the walk back, which is, for the record, walks back nothing. It's just like there is no part of this where he fixes what he said. None of it. Not any of it. Well, let's continue where we were.
People out there, there was no collusion at all. And people have seen that, and they've seen that strongly. The House has already come out very strongly on that. A lot of people have come out strongly on that.
Okay, hold on, wait, break. Let's stop. It's a lot of people. No, they haven't. The House came out strongly on that because the House is full of people who clearly have taken both NRA Russian money and some of that other oligarch flash cash that was bouncing around during the campaign too.
NRA thing.
We are bound at this point. We are bound to find out that all of these folks who have weirdly defended Donald Trump this entire time
with no idea what they're defending.
Yeah, well, are doing it because they now know that that Trump clearly is that it isn't about him at all. That it's about the general protection of their own election. These guys all got this money. They all got this this cash. And this is a scary position for them to be in. This is because this money is being tracked back. They're in as much danger of Mueller as he is. And as a matter of fact, there is a very strong case that Congressman A, who was named in the 12 Russian indictments, which is everybody believes is Dana Rohrabacher, is legitimately compromised, probably on tape. Asked Guccifer 2.0 for help against his opponent during a time when we all knew and when it was widely known in the news that Guccifer 2.0 was actually a front for a GRU hacking group. It wasn't an actual individual. It was a group of hackers working within Russia. And in the case of that...
He looks way too smart to do something like that. I just did a Google image search on the old Dana Rohrabacher, and it's like what I always imagined Vern looked like I've forgotten his name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, Vern. That you never
Ernest.
saw.
Ernest P.
Yeah,
Worrell.
so who Ernest was looking at the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely not. Jim Varney was a brilliant man. He was a Shakespearean actor from Lexington, Kentucky, who was actually very sweet and created this Ernest character and did commercials locally, and then grew it up into a huge thing before he passed away.
Yeah.
At a fairly
And
young
when
age.
when he made himself up to be the evil Ernest, he was kind of hot.
Okay. Well, I'm starting to understand what the caller's problem is with you. Now I'm in their court. Now I'm sympathizing with them.
I've got a crush on evil Ernest and Michael Avenatti.
The Avenatti thing makes total sense. My girlfriend
Thanks,
is
man.
nodding at that one. Like,
Good. Thank you, Summer.
There's just something like, just people just want to shave his head and oil him up, and just go, Jello wrestling with him.
Are you like locking eyes with Summer right now describing this?
Yeah, and I'm
Oh, my
squinting
word.
angrily. All right, she's just laughing the whole time, just total disregard. But I understand this is a reality. This happens. That being said, let's be abundantly clear that as we continue on, that Donald Trump is at no point intends to walk back.
No.
This issue. Like, he is
furious.
He's mad that he has to do it. And by the way, all this, look, no one's been tougher on Russia than I have. And he screamed obscenities at his staff when he found out that we expelled the same number of Russians as the EU. He wanted to expel the same number of Russians as the individual EU countries. I think Germany did like 6, France did 4. These were because that's the only number. That's how many spies they had in their country that they could out and get rid of immediately. And the EU did about 60, or did 55. We did 60, and he screamed at
he
his
lost
staff.
his mind when they
He was
when it was leaked that
furious.
he congratulated Putin. The whole "do not congratulate" memo.
Oh my God!
He was so mad that got out.
Yeah,
But no one's been harder on Russia, though. Really,
no one's
about
been
it.
harder on Russia than I
whole
have.
Russia thing.
So important, so good, so important that we do this. All right, so let's continue.
Myself very clear by having just reviewed the transcript. Now, I have to say, I came back and I said, what is going on? What's the big deal? So I got a transcript, I reviewed it. I actually went out and reviewed a clip of an answer that I gave.
The transcript.
And
He looked at the video.
I realize that there is a need for some clarification. It should have been obvious. I thought it would be obvious, but I would like to clarify just in case it wasn't. In a key sentence in my remarks,
Okay,
I said
stop.
the word
Wait,
would
yeah, okay, you
instead
got
of
one.
would.
Hold on. Do you have to stop
I'm
with
sorry.
key sentence? There is no key sentence.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody in this room right now has their hands on their head, knowing what's coming.
Right.
Like, it's like watching a scary movie knowing that the S is about to
Dude,
go down.
You cannot. Yeah, they're all going, don't. Like, that is basically all of his staff, except for Stephen Miller, who's like, wee,
He's like,
or however you say wee in 1940s German. Like, that's that. Wee. Okay.
This is good fun, yeah?
Yeah, this is so good. These types of things, this is so important that we do this. All right, so
I'm sweating now.
oh God, here we go.
All right,
So,
sorry, please continue.
yes.
The sentence should have been, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't,
Or
or
it.
why it wouldn't.
Oh, he
be
screws
right.
it up.
So,
He screwed that part up.
just to repeat it, I said the word would instead of wouldn't,
Wait.
and
No. Keep playing. This is my
sentence
favorite.
should have been, and I thought it would be maybe a little bit unclear on the transcript or unclear on the actual video. The sentence should have been, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be Russia. Sort of a double negative.
No, stop. Okay, that's not a double negative.
No! That is a single negative.
That's a single negative. You putz. Like that. Like, how do you? All right, I can't. He thinks.
Oh, wait. In his defense, he does say, "I don't see."
No, I can't see how it wouldn't be, is what he's saying. That's what he thinks is a double negative.
Oh, okay. He can't see it.
No. Okay, don't even begin.
Lady B, just keep your mic up. It's just jewels coming from across the way.
This
here.
is all right. Yeah. So okay. I mean, okay.
It's a morning zoo over here, and we got the news.
It kind of is, and it's okay. We got to take a break in a minute, anyways. And not only am I up on the YouTube, but I've actually fixed the green screen to some degree, and I've got a background going. This is super exciting.
Ooh,
yeah. It's like brand new tech. I'm so excited about the whole thing. Yeah, well,
are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just excited about being able to do this. So, chat room will be with you in just 1 second. HalSparks.tv. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. You don't have to ring the bell like all that nonsense, but it would be really great if you like and subscribe. It helps us out. And once we hit 10,000, we can do all sorts of wonderful things with the show. That would help us immensely. And we'll see you right after the break. It's the HalSparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Did you know you can listen to WCPT stream via their website, TuneIn Radio, iTunes, and Windows Media? Click the Listen Live tab at WCPT820.com.
Nothing wrong. Correspondent Mike Kremidas. Russia's foreign minister says the woman arrested and accused of being a Russian agent had been detained on fabricated charges and should be released. Sergei Lavrov made the comments about Maria Butina in a phone call to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Severe weather is forecast in the southeast this weekend. Forecaster Allison Chinchar.
Cities like Charlotte, Columbia, Atlanta are all going to be under the threat today.
Yeah.
Why? Because we have two rounds. The one that's already moved through some of these cities and another one that will be coming back this afternoon. So all of these cities have the potential for those damaging winds, the large hail, and yes, we cannot rule out the potential for an isolated tornado.
A severe thunderstorm warning was issued just moments before the sinking of that duck boat in Missouri, killing 17.
Last night you saw a tremendous show of support from this community, a vigil just outside the Ride the Ducks offices, in which there was really a sense from people of, this is Branson, and when you come here, you become a part of our family.
Correspondent Kaylee Hartung reports one family lost 9 people in the sinking of that boat. The red and white World Cup soccer ball that was tossed to President Donald Trump by Russia's President Vladimir Putin at the Helsinki summit is being checked. The ball is undergoing what's called a routine scrutiny. The United States Secret Service says the standard for all gifts that are given to the president. I'm Mike Moss.
This is 820 AM.
I have the little
WCPT
one.
Wells Springs, 92.5 WCPT FM DeKalb, and online at WCPT820.com.
It doesn't even matter. I mean, facts don't matter. Donald Trump can blurt some crazy conspiracy theory, and everyone will just fall in line and repeat it. And Don Jr. will be out there retweeting it. And all of the flying monkeys will all be out there saying the same thing.
Let's see.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I'm expecting a giant monster to fly out of the fog over House. Yeah, right. It's the Muto from the most recent Godzilla. It's good stuff. Okay, now that this is working, move this over here so we can at least have a closer version of. So I'm not looking away for all of this as much as I'm. Lower the mic, because I'm not as tall as whoever usually hosts here. Oh, it doesn't lower. Okay, well, we'll just deal. All right. Okay. Look at that. Okay, you can hear me good? Does it says audio's okay? WCPT found it sounded better than I do. Okay, well, it might be a volume check. It also might be, let's see, I'll check that guy. My little splitter might be being weird. Okay, fix that. Fingers crossed. It's all working. Use that. Okay. I sent you a DM a couple minutes ago. You'll laugh. Okay. Well, I will check it out.
let's see. So, where's this? Oh, almost. I want to talk a little bit about the the coordination between the Russians and the Trump campaign that anymore is just becoming like constant. I mean, technically speaking, it's probably it falls under the circumstantial evidence world. Let's see. Oh, yeah. What does it say? It says me. There you go. There I am. Oh, that's the. I was like, what is that? That's a light stand. Okay. That's the only picture I could pull up really quick for the background because I didn't want to be sitting on a green screen and let anybody just put me in anywhere. Here's Hal Sparks on a Nazi news station in Romania, broadcasting live. Like green screen.
Pull around the black curtain. That has the real hostage situation.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah. I really mean to be saying this. What I said could have been misconstrued. What I meant to say.
Some people say it's Charlie Rose. I really have the much more of like came from Afghanistan.
25 seconds.
Excellent. It's not that. I hope it's not the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. No, it is not. It's a. I'm fine. I'm changing it, you guys. Psh, being all rude. I know they are. I get it. I am? How am I? Why am I sensitive? What makes you think I'm sensitive about? What am I supposedly saying?
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out on me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Puss-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
Okay, one of the worst things that has happened to our democratic process in the United States is the weaponization of principles, meaning that people who are in any way feeling like they had a real issue with any candidate, that that there were Russian subgroups online basically driving the point that you can't trust anybody, whoever you like or you support or whatever is against you. You're better off not voting. And
your favorite band sucks.
Yes, that's right. It's not that your favorite band sucks. They're great and their music is terrific. But you do know that there's a lot of problematic stuff in every member of the band's past, like that kind of thing. And so every time you listen to that song you like, no matter how much it affects you, and no matter how much it's you've given it, infused it with your own meaning, it's still you gotta remember that he did get divorced twice, and it's they weren't always it wasn't always a happy relationship, and and that you just have to be concerned about those kind of people and that kind of stuff. Like, that's constantly running. So before we continue with our discussion about how the Trump folks handle this, there was there's increasingly a running story that every time the Trump campaign either shifted strategies or altered their approach in messaging, it happened in this ballet with Russian hackers. And so there was like this one area where I'm this is yes Virginia, which is one of the on Twitter, who wrote out this kind of long thread detailing big parts of this a while back, and there was this out of this must be like 50. The thread on this is crazy. But it's like, failed to finish this thought in Joshua Green's 10/27/16 exclusive with Brad Pascal. The digital campaign's minority suppression strategy was first implemented in late October. This times up with some Russian effort per paragraph 46 of the indictment that just came out against the 13 Russians. Okay, so this is from the indictment a couple weeks ago. In or around the latter half of 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators, through their organization-controlled personas, organization, being Russia, began to encourage U.S. minority groups not to vote in the 2016 U.S. presidential election or to vote for a third-party U.S. presidential candidate. Citing A, on or about October 16, 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used the organization-controlled Instagram account called Woke Blacks to post the following message. A particular hype and hatred for Trump is misleading the people and forcing blacks to vote Hillary. We cannot resort to the lesser of two devils. Then we'll surely be better off without voting at all. At all's in quotes. B, on or about November 3rd, 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators purchased an advertisement to promote an organization on the organization-controlled Instagram account called Blacktivist that read in part, choose peace and vote for Jill Stein. Trust me, it's not a wasted vote. C, by in or around early November 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators used the organization-controlled United Muslims of America social media accounts to post anti-vote messages such as, American Muslims are boycotting the elections today. Most of the American Muslim voters refused to vote for Hillary Clinton because she wants to continue the war on Muslims in the Middle East and voted yes for invading Iraq. And so this was a consistent refrain, pushed by the Russians, getting people to just ditch out on their vote. This was the whole goal, was to get them to not show up. Now, granted, in the United States, it's not really that hard to get people to not vote. No. You could pretty much bank on people not voting.
I love not doing things.
Yeah.
I love planning on doing something and then not doing it.
The laziness factor, being pushed, in the direction of the laziness factor in general, is is always going to be a win. You can count on it. You can count on the fact that people are going to, the easiest election strategy you can have is don't bother. Because distrust in our government, both earned and manufactured, has grown immensely. So much so that that in terms of the Russian meddling, at a certain point, it's not heavy lifting for them to go, well, we never really got a straight story about the Kennedy assassination and the Vietnam War. We were lied to repeatedly. And, of course, when you got people like Nixon and J. Edgar Hoover in charge of things, and the past crimes of the United States, we sort of warrant, we have it kind of coming. This is like blowback that we all sort of deserve. No matter what we're trying to do now, no matter what, circumstance we're in, America kind of has it coming. Is the overall sales message in this, and I gotta say,
I have felt this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And how so?
Well, just with the kind of along the lines of the Obama. Did we do too much? Did we go too far with this?
Yeah, that's different. That's Obama saying maybe big sections of the United States electorate were not ready for change as much as we thought they were, and maybe we bulldozed ahead too fast, or assumed, and I think this is more closer to reality, we assumed they were ready for it when they weren't. Now, when you're in the cutting edge of let's say progress, a lot of times that generally means people aren't on board. And you can take, in some cases, the idea that a sort of a drill sergeant approach, which is these slackers are never going to be ready for this, and the mission is too important, right? And I've always said that the right's push about gay people have an agenda. They have an agenda. There's the big gay agenda. There's a gay agenda where look, when you're holding someone underwater and they're trying not to drown, they don't have an agenda. Okay, they're just trying not to drown. And so when you're removing people's rights and you're actively seeking to make people second-class citizens. When in the case of minorities, especially the LGBT community and women, when you're actively seeking to limit their rights, you're the one with the agenda. But in some cases where the agenda has been the norm so long that even the people that are in those groups aren't 100% on board themselves yet, the progressive march can feel off kilter. And if you're really making progress, if things are really stampeding, there's a bunch of people who are eventually going to feel run over. And those people aren't always going to just lie down and take it, right? This is, and that I think is closer to how Obama felt about this, is that maybe we just thought people were more ready for this stuff than they were. And that maybe the legal stuff could have happened at the same pace, but the messaging should have been a little more aware that growth is messy and takes some time. Mm-hmm. And I believe that. That is absolutely true of just humanity in general. That, you know, especially when you're trying to make progress, that where your society has been lagging for a long time, you know, where we think, in some ways, like, we just kind of assumed on, you know, on the left that people were further along. And by the way, people were further along on gay marriage, for example, than even, you know, Obama was in the beginning. But he and Axelrod, that was the argument between the two of them. Obama was like, I'm for gay marriage, why can't I just say it? And Axelrod was saying, look, the majority of Americans aren't for it yet. And if you say that you are, you're gonna lose. And the guy who's going to get in office is going to be the one who will make sure that never happens. So this is the game you play as a politician. Now, the right has been playing this for a very long time. They play it nonstop. You know, they don't have an issue, you know, lying to get the Supreme Court. They don't have an issue pretending to be compassionate conservatives, or just being like, we just need a change in how business is run in this country, just so they can pack the court with religious conservatives and corporatists. The left, on the other hand, spends a lot of time making people feel included, as we should, sometimes to the exclusion of people within our own movement. You know, so that, you know, that it is always trickier when you're being inclusive. It just always is, because human beings are especially when you're talking about diversity of thought and being, you're going to include some people who are not team players. You're going to include some people who feel disenfranchised so much that they don't feel like waiting. You're going to feel, it's just life. That's how progress works. And it's a messy process. And that's why democracy is a difficult process, and it should be, right? It should take that, right?
Right, it should be hard.
Yeah. But there are a lot of people who are like, this is too complicated, and
let's just let one person decide everything.
That's right. You have to understand that the Republicans, and a lot of them, especially these days, pine for a more monarchical system.
Monarchical.
Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this. We're going to start taking some calls. 773-763-9278.
We got one guy on hold.
All right, there we go. We'll be back. And I'm going to thank our super chats when we get back. So thank you guys already, but I want to say it on the air, not just during the break when I'm talking to you guys, because you guys are awesome. Thank you, Julie, for running interference. And that picture is hysterical that you sent. Yeah. Chat outer space, no one can hear you scream. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, did we have... what was the troll running in the chat room? Thank you for clearing him out. Well done. But what was his generalized gripe? Or was he just kind of... Yeah. Troll patrol, cleaning up the trolls. What did the Russian say when he saw Jill Stein? Nice asset? All right, calm down. I am upset. Yeah. Well, all right. Fine. I'll get another background then. If you don't like that one, for Pete's sake. Be that way. Let's see. Oh, you know what I can do? Oh, I just remembered. Oh, this is way cool. Hold on.
Hal, you got 20 seconds.
Okay, great. I was enjoying that riff, so I was just letting it roll for a second. Yeah, that's good. We need to, at some point, we just got to bring, like, have Johnny have just a guitar set up.
Yeah, I got to patch in my guitar here.
Yeah, and then we'll just do, like,
I'll be in between music.
Right, while we're having tech problems, you can just be the, like, our, you know, and then eventually it'll turn into a TV show and you'll be my musical sidekick. Who goes,
that'll be great.
Who just goes cold-blooded in the background.
Behind the keyboard and go, fabulous.
Fabulous, babe. That was wonderful. We do have a caller, though. Let's see what he has to say. Who do we have?
Who could it be?
Steve from the Gold Coast. I'm gonna go Steve from the Gold Coast. Is it Steve from the Gold Coast? Hey, Steve from the Gold Coast. Hey, Steve.
Where were you when we were live, Steve? Where were you?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
We had a live.
Like
we were
5 minutes into the show.
No. When we had our live remote.
Yeah, we're.
Oh, sorry, I was in Washington D.C.
Well, like I am right now. I'm in D.C. currently.
In any case, you know, is this the moment, you know, when, say, for instance, Walter Cronkite declared that the Vietnam War was unwinnable?
Right.
And you know, support started to fall away from a lot of people, even on the side of the president and who were traditionally pro-war. I mean, is this the point at which, you know, Fox News starts to fall away and other, you know, staunchly conservative entities start to fall away, you know, to where, you know, he has no one left? I mean, I agree with you that, you know, this is someone who is relying still on this core constituency, you know, who's pretty much willing to look the other way, cognitive dissidence at his best. You know, no, I don't care that he did this. No, I don't believe that he did that. And even if you could show me in so many ways that he did this, and the other, I'm going to say that you're lying and call it fake news. You know, so I think, you know, if you look at Donald Trump's denial,
right,
and then the subsequent statements in terms of the original press conference, there's nothing that comports with the idea that he said wouldn't.
No,
the subsequent
nothing.
Statements still, you know, it fit in exactly with saying that they would. So, you know, I mean, if you're going to do this sort of thing, at least be smart about it.
If you can,
there's nothing worse than, you know, than saying something wrong and knowing you did it, and then coming out and then trying to deny it in a way that's quite obviously a lie.
If you can change the entire content of a paragraph of 2 minutes of speaking.
Hello?
If you can, I don't know if he can hear me.
He may not be able to hear Hal, but he's all over your point.
Yes. So let's be
great. Well, yes. Thank you for taking my call, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. We're gonna run with it.
Yeah. So the if you can change the meaning of an entire paragraph of dialogue of speaking through one contraction, you are a terrible diplomat. Like that is the kind of thing that sounds like World War III almost started because of a translation from English to Japanese. You know what I mean? Or English to Russian or whatever, back in the Cold War. You know what I mean? Like one of those things like, yeah, just by saying this word instead of that word, which means it's actually a reversal. The entire meaning of the message was shifted, so they almost launched a nuclear attack, and we were almost all killed. Like, that's the level of, like, crappy diplomacy that lands in.
Play a game.
Right. And then, so this was Trump's, by the way, tweet this morning. Inconceivable that the government would break into a lawyer's office, in parentheses, early in the morning, because that's the rude part, while I'm still in bed having executive time, in my PJs, surrounded by Fish Delight wrappers, which is, by the way, in case you don't remember, what Trump calls the fillet of fish at McDonald's. He calls it Fish Delight. It's never been called Fish Delight. He sends people out to get him Fish Delight. He doesn't know it's not called Fish Delight.
What?
You don't know this?
No.
This
my father was in the hospital. He was out of his mind. He wanted a McDonald's cheeseburger, and he asked for a grilled cheese. And I'm like, oh, I get it, Dad.
Yeah.
But he came around.
But he was dosed. He was on, he was in the ethers, right?
Drugs.
No. Early in the morning, while I'm surrounded by Fish Delight wrappers. Dash, almost unheard of. Even more inconceivable that a lawyer would tape a client. Totally unheard of and perhaps illegal. Okay, first of all, Michael Cohen was not acting as Trump's lawyer in his capacity as a lawyer during that conversation.
And they had all those
he was a collaborator in what he may have been, because he did go to law school, even though he wasn't paying attention most of the time, it seems. He may have been aware that he was engaged in a criminal activity. He was in electioneering, essentially, that he was making an in-kind campaign donation if he paid for this himself, and that the money had to go back to Trump, otherwise it will look like he himself was breaking campaign finance laws by paying for this other one, or paying off the Inquirer, paying off AMI, to buy this story from them, in case at some point they decided to run with it. I'm not quite sure what the logic was there, but Trump was like, maybe we should give him a check. We can cancel it after the election.
Isn't
and then
it
it'll
like
be too late.
The catch and kill?
Catch and kill, yeah. But that was the idea, is that if they're already on the team and they're willing to do that, what's the problem? I'm not quite sure why they suddenly became so distrusting of them, but whatever. Okay. And then he finishes up with, the good news is that your favorite president did nothing wrong. The good news. And I'm like, yeah, I know Obama did nothing wrong. What does that have to do with the rest of your stupid tweet?
He said your favorite president?
He said your favorite president. The good news is your favorite president did nothing wrong.
Now I see why Pete Susan
BFF, ta-ta for now. Don't go changing. See you next summer. You were awesome. Yeah. So, this is him tweeting this morning. This was 5 hours ago. And by the way, yesterday, while his team was, releasing this Cohen-related news, basically in an attempt to protect him from the Russia story, because this is, like I said, his followers get jealous or excited about the fact that he is, having affairs with these women, and they think it's just awesome. They're impressed by it. So, but everybody seems to be aware that his blatant protection of Vladimir Putin and their support of his campaign, the generous side of it, and in the news media that came up repeatedly, by the way, is that, well, he just doesn't want people to think his election was illegitimate. That's what he's mad about. He thinks that any talk of this comes up a bunch, any talk of this makes it look like his win was illegitimate. Yes, but illegitimate because he was conspiring with Russians to manufacture consent in our election. That he was driving voters away from the voting booths and driving certain voters towards shifting their vote to protect his narrow win. And as they got closer and closer, they recognized that this was a potentially winning plan, and they worked on it more. Okay, so and his defense, by the way, of what he went through over the course of his summit with Putin and his collaboration with him. His tweets about this, and where we start, like the United States should not have been penalized because we're doing so well. He attacked the Fed this week, a day ago. He attacked China and the European Union and others have been manipulating the currencies and interest rates he's basically going through over the last 24 hours, he's been gish-galloping a bunch of his campaign phrases, basically doing what he does at his campaign rallies on Twitter. And then they put together this video of, Trump recognized Russian meddling many times, in quotes.
We have much hacking going on.
Hold on. This is the Trump tweeting out what he said was this is him recognizing that they were attacking our elections.
As far as hacking, I think it was Russia, but I think we also get hacked by other countries and other people.
By the way, this is his defense video. They put this out, okay?
And I can say that when we lost 22 million names and everything else that was hacked recently, they didn't make a big deal out of that. That was something that was extraordinary. That was probably China. We had much hacking going on. Well, I think it was Russia, and I think it could have been other people in other countries. Could have been a lot of people interfered. I think it was Russia, but I think it was probably other people and or countries. It was Russia, and I think it was probably others also. The Russians had no impact on our votes whatsoever. But certainly there was meddling, and probably there was meddling from other countries and maybe other individuals.
Like he can't even run that part of it. He can't even allow for just finish the thought. Like, yes, Russia did this. It was and here's why he can say, I think it was Russia, and I think it was other countries and people and blah blah blah. Is because the defense, and we got to take a break, but the defense he uses for Putin, and that Putin has said, is there's a bunch of patriotic Russians who may have monkeyed with the American election, but it wasn't directed by the government. That's how Donald Trump gets around saying that in all those clips. Yeah, I think it was Russia, but he doesn't mean the Russian government. He doesn't mean Putin directing this thing. What he means is there were patriotic Russians who were just messing with our election because and other countries do it too, and people in other countries, and it doesn't matter, and da-da-da-da, but it didn't change any votes. Yes, it did. Yeah. We'll be back. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, and WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. And when we come back, I want to thank our super chats, because they've been awesome this hour. We'll be back. Yeah, oh yeah.
What are the super chats doing?
I'll tell them after the break. We got to take a break.
All right,
that's why I said we have to take a break. You're going to get another letter.
As far as hacking, I think it was Russia.
But I also think it was other people. Okay. Yeah. So, there's so much stuff in his most recent tweets where it's just like this bulldozing obfuscation that he's trying to do. Alsparks, if I tell you something, are you able to get word to Malcolm Nance? Yeah. I can DM him. Can talk that way. Absolutely. He sent me some stuff and some hellos that way. I never said that we hacked Jesus' election, just that it was more well known. A new growing consensus says that he was with underscores on the tape price. Oh, the tape itself, yeah. I want Joe Crowley to step aside because he's being a petulant baby. Joe Crowley's probably going to win that election. I think his young girl's dirty money. Yeah, I think that's a reason.
Last commercial.
Okay.
25 seconds.
Lovely. Spain colluded with Russia with Michael Flynn. The GOP's fly to Russia on the 4th of July. What pictures? Oh, man. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week, but... Are we getting letters? Have we been banned? Does it have to be signed? Yes, you need a permission slip to watch the show from now on. Folks trying to go into Wikipedia look at malignant narcissism, you'll swear it's a precise description of Donald Trump. It's almost uncanny, right? Welcome back to the show. So, I wanted to thank our super chatters too, who are just awesome. Hal Vickery and Billy Hutchins and James Etling and thank you guys so much for super chatting today. It's awesome, especially those with notes with the House Sparks YouTube chat room repair fund, which was very helpful in getting us off the ground, and 20 to Tech and the rest for the Fifth Avenue digs, because we're still trying to buy 666 Fifth Avenue, which I'm convinced after the lawsuits start happening, the protection racket of the Chinese money that came in to help Jared Kushner get bailed out of 666 Fifth Avenue, when that gets frozen because it's illegal, we're gonna be able to pick it up for a song. I just think I really believe that we're gonna be able to buy it at bargain basement prices. And, and we're going to move the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there and open up the Metal Museum, which I think the Metal Museum should be in 666 Fifth Avenue. And if we can't do that, then we should buy 66 Sixth Avenue to do that. That's just my own feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it should be, the entire place should be, tear down the building and replace it with the Iron Maiden airplane as but it's just personal, whatever. The ongoing news cycle with Trump and the Russian flailing about, and his sort of masking that with the Cohen tape conversation happening yesterday, which was effective in most of the news cycle in burying Monday and Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You'll notice it did take over. And the story that came out that was sort of a sidecar to that, which was Mueller subpoenaing Kristen Davis, the Manhattan Madam who worked for Roger Stone this week. Yeah, well, she apparently was doing web work for Roger Stone. Doing like website stuff, which interestingly enough, I think is more relevant to the Russia investigation than I think people are even aware of, because in the case of Roger Stone's back and forth and Manafort's back and forth with the Russians, Manafort was doing something that I think is fascinating because it's a trend. There was a trend in how he works it. So what he got busted for initially, and some of his what he I guess got also what he got thrown in jail for and got his bond revoked over. Thank you, Amos, was the fact that he was doing this special way of getting messages back and forth to witnesses and his witness tampering thing, which I think really helps people get a grasp of how the Alpha Bank ping server in Trump Tower works and all those relating technological things. And so basically what Manafort got busted for was that he was exchanging messages with, trying to get his story straight with witnesses by, instead of sending and receiving emails, which would be picked up easily, he would write a draft email, never send it, and then presumably verbally give the account email address and the password to the person he was contacting or had in the past, or have it delivered by his attorneys. Now, they would contact this person and go, here's the email password to this email address. And they would, instead of sending emails back and forth, which could be picked up on the server, they would just log in to this email address and look in the draft folder and have this conversation back and forth in the draft email folder, having never sent something. And so this was how they were getting around stuff. And then they found...
like that thing I do where I stick it to the man by putting a whole bunch of junk mail inside a prepaid envelope.
It's pretty much that. No, it's nothing like that. But it would be the equivalent of ordering something through the mail, steaming open the package that you were paying for or whatever, putting cash, like taking drugs out of the package, putting cash in it, resealing it, and saying no one at this address returned to sender. So a package with drugs was never technically delivered to your house. That kind of thing. Like that's a fairly common criminality, and I hope I haven't given people a hint on how to do something illegal that they didn't already know about. But it's a fairly old common practice. It is the email equivalent of that. And in the case of Manafort, he was doing that, and they revoked his bond. They just found out when he didn't want to be moved from one jail to another, they found out that his lawyers were bringing a laptop into the room with him that he would work with. He would write...
a uniform, anything.
You beg your pardon?
He didn't have to wear a...
No. He was bragging about getting the VIP treatment in this. But he...
probably shouldn't brag about
No, don't do that. You should say it's horrible. Just stay on message, right? So Manafort... They would bring this laptop in for him to use that was covered under privilege, right? Until it wasn't, because this is a criminal activity. You're not allowed to do this. Because they were transporting messages to other people. Once it leaves their purview, that's illegal. And once you share it with somebody else who isn't an attorney, it's no longer privileged. So they were sharing this laptop with somebody, and apparently the messages that were in that, were no longer being sent over the internet. It was like an off-internet laptop. They were basically doing like the sneaker net version of this system. Meaning, you hand the laptop to somebody, they know the password for the laptop, they open it, they read it, they write some stuff, they close it, they send it back, and you're just transporting this box back and forth. And since the lawyers don't have the password, and the prison people don't have it, or he's not giving it to them, the idea is they won't be able to get it, and they absolutely do. So this sheds light, I think, on the common practice aspect of how the Trump collusion legal problems will eventually come to light. And remember, right now, Trump is delivering handwritten letters to both Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin on the regular.
Giant envelopes.
Yes. This is a, he doesn't trust email, and he directs other people not to use traditional email methods because he knows they're going to get busted. This is his big fear. And so what mostly is going to come out with him is recordings of these things when they happen, like verbal recordings of stuff, like the Carter Page recording that he supposedly took to the Russians during the campaign.
I love Carter Page.
I love Carter Page too.
On the cable news interview.
Oh my God, he's one of the funniest.
Just to watch his eyebrows dance around.
Yeah, just that like all of his. I just want to play poker with Carter Page.
For like money, I don't want to rip off the guy just because I want a lot of peanuts.
That's right. Just let's play for peanuts, and I'll be able to make peanut butter.
Yes.
Just the volume will be overwhelming. I'll never be able to take this home with me. But Carter Page. It comes out again that he was busted, again for not being forthcoming about his back and forth with them. So understand that this is just going to continue to grow, but it will all be hedged around. The entire conspiracy case, the treasonous case, will all be predicated on the model that Manafort has been using. Because that's the system that I guarantee they all jumped in. They're like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. And so when they start seizing these accounts, they didn't realize that once they get the passwords, they'll be able to open up and look in the draft folder of all these things. Like, they just figured that's not going to happen that way. So anyways, that going forward, if you're ever confused about the mechanics of how collusion occurred with these folks, it happened in two ways. One was the money that was, or the information that was changing hands by physical means. And then the other will be this particular methodology for electronic communications. And I want to go to the chat room because these guys are jumping around about some stuff too, and are part of this, especially.
They're handing you money.
Well, this is true as well.
You have to. Those are our sponsors.
Yeah. So and Edward in our chat room is saying, Hal, it's a dead drop, and also why was his lawyer not charged with the laptop? Well, the idea is that they have to some degree plausible deniability. They can pretend not to know. I mean, it's stupid, but they can absolutely, they can go, well, he knew that this guy gets the laptop, but I got the laptop from him. He didn't know I was giving the laptop to him. So basically what happens is, can you give this to this lawyer? And when the lawyer gets the laptop, he doesn't know, he's supposed to not know that the laptop is coming from Manafort, just that it's coming from the other attorney. So the guy who's receiving the laptop talks to one attorney. The guy who, Manafort talks to his attorneys. They pretend to not know what's going on between the two. That's how they do it. And everybody in the chat was like, yeah, like a spy briefcase. Exactly like a spy briefcase. It's just, and there's some talk in the chat room, and it's valuable, about Trump winning re-election and the dangers of the election coming up. And understand this, that the only answer we have in any of this is an overwhelming vote of attrition. The volume of voting has to be so big they can't steal it. Because if it gets within 4%, that's a stealing margin. That's a theft margin. Even in a state where you think it's a blue state. And again, two things. One, if you're voting in a state where you're like, it's red, it won't make a difference, it very well might. You always have to vote as because you water down the mandate in that state. If you're voting in a state and you're like, well, it always goes blue, what's the point? Well, first of all the other offices in your state are probably getting watered down with GOP people, from Secretary of State to Board of Education to your city councils to your sheriffs to your AG, all that stuff, because they figure you're not going to bother to vote anyway, so they pad the vote on those other ones. They know the big offices will go Dem, but people might not vote down ticket, or they'll vary the vote. So and if you're voting in a state and you know it's going to go blue, and the other thing is you manufacture a powerful mandate. I just had a great idea apparently. You make sure
from me.
That's right. The mandate is super important in that point, because what happens is, yeah, we win in some of these states, but the margin is 4 or 5%, and people go, well, with the margin of error, they probably actually aren't crazy about the Affordable Care Act, so why would they want Medicare for all? That's how it's done. Your vote is watered down. Whenever you go, it's the lesser of two evils, and you allow the greater evil to get through. What they assume is you don't want anything that the lesser one was for. You don't want $15 minimum wage, even if it goes through $12 an hour first, like Hillary was pushing. You don't want it at all. You're on our side. Your lack of voice silences acceptance. And by not voting, against specifically the Donald Trumps of the world in these situations, until such time as we have a 60 or 70 vote majority in the Senate or something, you're letting this stuff happen. Period. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. The House Parks Radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Theory as well, that this actually was leaked by the Trump side.
Yes.
For whatever reason. Do you agree that that is the most likely the case?
No, I completely disagree. I think it's pretty obvious that this tape
was leaked by Michael Cohen's side, and in my view was a final shot across the bow, if you will, at Donald Trump to send a message that time is running out, and if Donald Trump does not bring Michael Cohen into the tent to protect him, serious consequences are going to result. I completely disagree that it makes no sense for the White House to have leaked this tape. I think it was leaked by Michael Cohen's side for the reason that I mentioned earlier. And let me just say this, Joy, you know, that old adage, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Donald Trump knew for the better part of a decade that Michael Cohen had a tendency to tape record conversations with adversaries and others and to hold on to those recordings. He knew that. And in fact, Michael Cohen bragged about it at various times to Donald Trump and others. So it should come as no surprise.
Trump did that too. Trump bragged about recording stuff. That's, by the way, that's Avenatti with Sam Nunberg, with the Roger Stone's sweaty sidecar, Sam Nunberg, on the news this morning on AM Joy.
Hal?
Yes.
Okay, you got 3 callers, and I fixed the routing. Somebody moved it again.
Oh, that somebody's got it coming.
Yeah.
We need young progressive candidates. Nothing against Bernie. He was my guy. Hillary had a plan to get the entire country to at least $12 an hour with big cities and $50 an hour. People act like it was a bad thing. Yeah. Again, this is the anti-incrementalist idea that allows the Republican incrementalism, which is the control of the Supreme Court, to happen. You acquiesce your incremental progress of any sort because if it's like saying, I want a new house, and if I can't bulldoze this one, I'm just going to burn it down. You know, like, these are your 2 choices. So, welcome back to the show. This is the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. Don't forget to go to halsparks.tv on the YouTube channel and like and subscribe to the show there. You really help us out when you do. Even if you're like, I'm not even on YouTube that much, or what have you, or whatever. We get swamped by the volume of right-wing talking groups on YouTube, and so we need all the help we can get, and any help is appreciated. Everybody in the chat room would love to have you, and love to have you in there talking. Oh, thank you, Natalie. We also got a couple more super chats while we're talking.
A very nice lady.
Yeah, she is, and she knows how to adopt a kitten. She adopts kittens with the best of them. And Amos, thank you so much.
Say hi to Andy.
Yeah, no, that's the wrong. Quiet. All right. So we have.
Wait, did you get a chance to see my message?
In where? Where did you?
In iChat or?
Oh, is that what beeped during the show? Is that the ding in the show?
Yes, the ding in your show. I'm the twitch in your right eye.
State Department deletes a statement condemning Russia over MH17 downing right after Trump's Putin summit. Yeah, that's par for the course.
That's got to be one of the agreements.
Yeah. Well, they understand something. Trump and Putin had a discussion, and the only side of that discussion that is coming out is the Russian side. They are, okay, so there's, Russia says Putin and Trump discussed referendum in Ukraine, okay? The AP in Moscow is writing, Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump discussed a possible referendum in separatist-leaning eastern Ukraine during their Helsinki summit last week, Russia's ambassador to the U.S. said Friday. Ambassador Anatoly Antonov revealed the discussions amid confusion and concern in the U.S. about what the 2 presidents agreed to behind closed doors. This issue of a referendum was discussed, he said, adding without elaborating that Putin made concrete proposals to Trump on solutions for the 4-year Ukraine conflict, which has killed more than 10,000 people. The move may be seen as an effort to sidestep European peace efforts for Ukraine and increase pressure on the Ukrainian government in its protracted conflict. Basically, they know they can ballot stuff there super easy, which is why we would never allow something like that. You never let Russia run an election. But then, hey, Trump's all for them running ours. He has invited Putin back in November.
He wants the help.
He wants him here right before the election. The big question on everybody's mind right now is he going to invite him back for his military parade? You know, to inspect the stuff he bought.
Yeah.
You know, like, So, Julie in our chat room, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's I think she's the only one who has to do her super chat in euros. But
awesome.
but
what
also,
time is it there?
I don't know.
Go to bed.
No. She's and maybe I'm going to be in Milan. Summer and I will be in Milan in the beginning of December for a couple of days. So, Julie, you're so well traveled in Europe. I hope you can make it down, and maybe we'll do the show from Milan, darling. Let's take some calls though, because we got a few minutes left. We only got a few minutes left, and I want to take the call. So if everybody can.
All right, so let's do. We're going to go in order of waiting longest. So we're going to Bruce on line 3.
Excellent. Hey, Bruce, welcome. If you can't hear me.
Hey, Hal, thanks for taking my call. I love your new live stream on YouTube.
All right.
I really do. This is awesome. I love the interactive. I want the 8-track version of this next.
Yeah, that's there are big clicks in the middle of me talking sometimes, so that's the closest to 8-track would come.
No, but you got it together. It's pretty cool.
Right.
And I like that you show us how it's working. But
or not. Or not working, as the case may be someday. But go ahead, yeah.
What I wanted to talk about is, the narrative. We've been dealing with the Republican narrative for years, from Reagan, war on drugs, war on gays, war on religion, and it's we're rope-a-dope by this stupid talk.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I like to ask people, my family members, friends, are we living in a time of war or peace?
Mm-hmm. Huh.
And it brings them, what I ask is, how are we spending our funds? Are we spending them on war, or are we spending on peace? Well, what are we doing? And it goes to the question earlier, you're talking about why people aren't voting because they're lazy.
Right.
We're kind of in a peaceful state of mind in America. We love our country, and we are lazy, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we get rope-a-dope, we need to stand up a little stronger. And so what I want to suggest to people is to ask this question to yourself. Yes, we have hot spots in the world, but the fact of the matter is, in America, we're living in relative peace. So we need to spend our funds on peaceful things.
Right, like education and healthcare. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Education for sure. When I went to school in the 70s, there was a few $100 to get an education at the local community college, which is still thriving today in my community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the things I want to challenge Americans is to start thinking about, are we living in peace or are we living in war, and how are we going to spend our money and demand that our representatives represent us?
Yeah, the irony is, and you make a really good point, the irony that we are ratcheting up our military spending as if we are at open, near hot war with Russia, while the president is saying, we're just trying to get along, everybody's peaceful, they want war with Russia, we don't, whatever. None of us are asking for war with Russia. We're simply saying that you treat a cyber attack like a cyber attack. But the idea that we would treat it with a military parade and tanks as if that's the kind of war we're in at all anymore, and or that we should, that should be our answer for stuff. Meanwhile, it's like, building a wall and building up our military. It's as if we're drawing a moat around a country that is fading, so that our biggest defense is, well, why would anybody want to attack a trash dump? You know what I mean? Like, if you run down America, eventually nobody will want to come here. It's the self-deportation, Mitt Romney theory at its worst. We'll make America so bad that no one will want to come here. And that, there's an element, where it's so dog eat dog that, that Yemen looks preferable, is almost the sort of sovereign citizen attitude. And you're absolutely right. As a country that is not in an active hot war for our own defense, like some are, we owe it to ourselves to treat the country like we're at peacetime. Infrastructure building, education, clean environment stuff, like eliminating, lead and heavy metals from our cities and our water systems. Not that kind of heavy metals. But yeah, awesome call. Really appreciate it. We've only got 2 minutes left. Let me get at least one more in before we run out of time. Who do we have there, Johnny?
We've got Debbie from Old Town on line 1.
Right on. Hey, Debbie.
Hey, Hal. First-time caller.
I know. It's great.
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a point that I've been just aching to make, and it's not just with you. It's been all week. I've been thinking and thinking and thinking about this.
Right.
In conversation, when someone speaks, the intonation of their voice tells you. That's why texting isn't always, what the meaning is.
Oh, it can get you in trouble.
The intonation of their voice tells you exactly how they mean something. When you say the word would in a sentence, and when he said it, your voice goes up. It goes would. When you say the word wouldn't, and it's a negative, your voice goes down. It wouldn't. It's a more firm and a more stern stance on something. And for him to say that he meant wouldn't instead of would, it's just totally incongruous with the entire thought that he was projecting and the way his voice was projecting it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, do you have children, Debbie?
Yes.
Yes. So you've heard children say stuff to cover their butt, and you know from their inflection and how they're talking that they're not telling you the truth, right? And that's that's what he's doing. Like, look, mister, I know exactly. And Julie in our chat room saying, that's what I said. Tone means everything. You're absolutely right.
Exactly.
He said it like...
I just want to make one quick point. We've always said perfection is the enemy of the good.
Yes.
Well, I think right now we're in a situation where purity is the enemy of the good.
I agree. You're absolutely right. We have to reflect your own humanity and the people that you're interacting with. And if you can't go, I'm a flawed human, they're a flawed human. This is we are all human beings, and give somebody a chance.
Has got to stop.
Yep, I agree. Thank you so much, Debbie. And I'm sorry we didn't get to our last caller, but we're running out of time. Awesome show. Thank you so much, chat room. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Johnny Million, for joining us today. And thanks to everybody at WEAC Radio, especially Troy Miller, who came in and helped us set up today and get us running, and then fixed our camera situation when we didn't have one, and got us up on YouTube. Greatly appreciated. Thanks to Summer for sitting through the show and sending cat videos to me, and agreeing that Michael Avenatti is hot. And we'll see you guys next week. We're gonna go. We're gonna do some marching and support HSUS too. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Sharon.
Bye. Thank you, Lady B.
No, he thought he was sexy. His intent is sexy. Look at what he's fighting for.
Don't defend yourself. Don't backpedal now. It's too late. It's all right. You jumped into the conversation. I never thought that he wouldn't be sexy, just that he would be. I meant wouldn't. Somebody might misconstrue that when I said I would sleep with, I wouldn't sleep with him. I never said I wouldn't not sleep with him. I said I would not sleep with him.
I just smiled and you took that as agreement.
That's right. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for helping us set this up too. This is great. I really appreciate it. Troy, big hand for Troy. Chat room, yay. That's right. Yeah, dude, that'll be terrific. So we're gonna sign off. I'm not gonna do a post show today because we gotta leap off, and I don't want to keep him any longer than he has to be. But thank you guys so much for being with us today. I'm gonna do probably a mid show this week to test the setup in Vegas when we're there. So we'll get all that up and running. Everybody says yay, Troy. Thank you, Troy, in the chat room. So
you're welcome.
Yes, you're welcome.
My pleasure.
That's right. And Carl is clapping, literally. Please clap.
I don't have a Jeb Bush golf.
There's not a Jeb Bush golf clap. Please clap. So sad. Yes, we will do a mid-show, promise, and we'll do it during a time when Julie can be awake normally, so we're not doing it at the odd late European hour, too. We'll figure it out. But anyways, you guys take care of yourselves, take care of somebody else, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. I like this green screen situation. We're going to have to set this up. It's going to be pretty sweet. I just got to say.
My house is going to be green.
Oh, the whole house is going to be green. It's going to be a good time. Okay, bye. Go, and it's stopping. We think we'll see. It always takes a little time.
It's gonna take a little time.